Now, though, let us move along, and in a matter of moments, we are going to be joined by Brian Ortega. Can't wait to speak to him. He has not done an interview since his fight with Max Holloway fell through. I'm sure a very emotional week for him. Saw him a couple times, spoke to him off the record, and very much appreciate the fact that he's coming on the show here today, and we'll be able to speak about what happened. He was in a very tough spot, and as I said at the top, I thought he should have been protected more. I think we need to understand where he was coming from, and honestly, I don't think that he did anything wrong as far as not taking any other fights, even what he put out publicly. I mean, he handled that situation as well as possible, if not better. You imagine gearing up for a fight, it falling through. I don't think we can even comprehend the feelings that are involved in that. So let us not waste any more time. Let us say hello now to Brian Ortega, who is joining us via the magic of Skype. There he is. Brian, thank you for joining
What's
us.
up, brother? How are you?
I'm doing great. I really appreciate this. Thank you so much for coming on the show. So let's start Wednesday. You find out Max Holloway is out. How did you react? How did you feel?
I mean, I remember they called me. I was by the pool. We just did the open. We did the open workouts, and I went by the pool. And someone called me and said there might be a possibility that he doesn't make it. And at first, I thought maybe it was mind games, or maybe it was just that he's having a hard time cutting weight. So I didn't really get stressed about it. And then maybe I want to say like 30, 40 minutes after that, everyone started calling me and confirming. And my whole team was around me, so I really didn't want to show any emotion. And I kind of just had to stay strong and kind of just tell everyone, like it all happens for a reason. And yeah, it's like the famous line, right? Everything happens for a reason.
Right. And so the reality sinks in. You don't even, from what I understand, get a chance to actually like let the reality sink in because already they're asking you to take another fight, right?
Well, yeah, right. Well, exactly. Right after that, they called me and they started reaching out and trying to see who I want to fight in terms of saving the card. And yeah, man, for us, I sat down with the team and kind of just we came up with our decision.
Is it almost like one of those things where there's like a step-by-step process? Like initially you're kind of, like shocked and then maybe surprised, and then like you start to get increasingly more mad that your dream isn't going to be realized on Saturday. Like, did you go through that grieving process?
Oh yeah, for me, because especially for like you said, I had the fight within 2 days. The fight of my life was right there. It was right within reach within 2 days, and they got pulled from me, and they try to pretty much, I don't want to fill the carding with anything else if it's not for a title at this point in my career. Before I take a fight on 2 days' notice just to prove to the UFC that I need to fight wherever I have to fight to get that shot, to get the title. But now I have that, and you know, I don't want to waste it.
So you never even considered any other options. Once you found out that Max was not fighting, you said, I'm just going to wait, right?
If it's not for the belt, then it's a no go. That's what our mentality was. And then they try to say maybe if they make it for interim or this that, and I was just saying no. You know what? The fight I love is the champ, and the fight the fans will love is me and Max Holloway. So I just had to kind of put my pride aside and put my thinking hat on and listen to my teams, and then we made our decision.
Did you reach out to Max? Did Max reach out to you? Did you have any communication with him at all?
No, none at all, man. I think the only communication I got was someone tagged me on one of the posts that he put, and I guess he put something like respect to Ortega, and then went on and did all this other things, and just kind of apologized to the fans and everyone.
Did you see any of the interviews that he did where it seemed like he was slurring his words, where it seemed like he wasn't all there? And if so, what did you think when you saw that?
No, something felt wrong. Something felt really wrong from the beginning, from the Fighters Award where he didn't show up to get his award to to the next day after that, to the open workouts and all the media things that you seen. He just, you could tell it was either he was having a really bad, that what I thought was he was having a really bad weight cut.
Hmm.
And so I was just like, okay, this guy just having a bad weight cut, and he's gonna muscle through it because he's never missed weight, and he might sound like a little bit slurred up or whatever or tired, but come Friday afternoon, he's gonna be rehydrated and gonna be back to his normal self. That was my thought process, but I didn't know it was concussion, and then I don't know. Now they're saying water intoxication. So whichever one is just, as long as his health is good, then that's all I want from him.
At the top of the show, I talked about the press conference and how, sitting there, I felt like you should have been protected more. How I felt that the narrative that was being put out was, oh, Brian Ortega had opportunities to quote unquote save the card and didn't take them. I'm wondering if you heard those comments and if you felt the same way. Did you feel like you were, as I put it, being thrown under the bus?
I showed up to the arena, and I talked to you. I showed up to talk to Dana, and I literally just came to look for Dana. I didn't even call him, text him,
Okay, the Skype is acting crazy on us.
I'm telling him, I'm like, you talked to me, he told me, like, hey, dude, like, everyone just kind of booed you and everything.
Brian, can you hear me?
I think
Can you hear me? Because we lost you there.
yeah, I'm breaking down.
Yeah, we lost you in the connection there, and I wanted to hear. It was like at the worst time possible. Can you still hear me?
I know. I can hear you a little bit.
Okay, let's see. Let's see if we could fight through this. Please, Skype gods, help us.
Is it better?
Doesn't seem like it's better. Are you inside now? Maybe we'll hang up and reconnect. How about that?
Hello.
Can you hear me now? Let's hang up and reconnect with him. If we can. Brian, we're going to call you right back, all right?
Hello.
Yeah, let's call him right back very quickly here and get back in touch with Brian. So, yes, he did say that I did see him. Wasn't sure if he actually heard the press conference or not, but I did see that he arrived as I was leaving the press conference. I think I was going to the Hall of Fame at that point. And he did have a look on his face like he was not the happiest camper. And so we're going to reconnect here with Brian in a second. I thought that he handled the situation as well as possible. He put something up on Instagram saying that he's no yes man, that he was frustrated sitting in attendance on Saturday watching the fights. Certainly, I think a lot of people were thinking the same thing during the Ngannou-Lewis fight. This is the moment, even before that fight actually came to fruition, when it was actually unfolding, I was thinking as they were walking out, like, this is around the time that we were about to see Brian Ortega versus Max Holloway. But again, from all the perspectives, from Max Holloway's team saying you cannot fight in this state, from Ortega saying thanks but no thanks, even Jeremy Stevens stepping up, like, I don't think anyone did anything necessarily wrong. Even the UFC trying to keep the train moving along. That's what you have to do if you're in their spot. But I also feel like there's some protection of a young stud like him, a diamond in the rough, so to speak, someone who is who has such great potential, who is such a fun fighter with such a great following. It's a very tricky thing as you're trying to tell the public what you did to try to fix this situation, but you're also trying to protect his reputation and his standing with the fans. Impossible to dislike this guy. Impossible situation. Your opponent, the champion, pulls out on 3 days' notice. What are you going to do? Just take someone else at that juncture? Too risky. There's too much at stake. You've done too much to get to that point. I firmly believe that 90% of the fans put in that position would do the exact same thing. I sure as heck would. Do we have him on the phone? Or I think we're calling him right now. These are the joys of live streaming. And by the way, this has nothing. I saw the stream went out for a second there. Nothing to do with YouTube, Twitter. Everyone just relax. Let's go back to the phone lines and say hello to Brian Ortega. Brian, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Now I can hear you just fine. Unfortunately, we can't see you, but I obviously want to hear you most importantly. So you said that you arrived after the press conference. You were looking for Dana, and then I lost you.
Well, yeah, me and you, I talked to you, and once I finished talking to you, you told me, like, dude, like, your manager just took a hit in front of everyone right now and just got booed off stage pretty much. And like, I had to go and look at the video. I looked the video up as I was waiting for Dana behind, backstage. I was like, oh, great. Like, like, I thought when you said, like, they booed me, I was just like, oh, like, of course fans are going to do what fans do, but yeah, they really booed him and myself.
So you got in touch with Dana. You actually had a discussion with him.
Yeah.
And how'd that go?
I mean, the first one, pretty much just it didn't go my way, man. Like I told you at the hotel, it just didn't go my way.
What do you mean by didn't go your way?
I just asked him. I asked him if there was going to be, and I explained to him my decision and then everything, and we talked about the fight, about how come I didn't take it. He was upset that I didn't take the fight with Jeremy Stevens, and I explained to him, I go, listen, man, I understand. I go, you're looking at, I go, you got your promoter hat on, you stand for the UFC. The UFC has to do what the UFCs have to do to save the show, save the card. And to you guys, this is just UFC 226. I go, but for me, this is my life's work. I put everything into this camp. I put everything into my life to get to this point, to get to be ranked number one in the world. And I keep thinking about all these guys who risk their fights for a paycheck or to be to be that kind of company man. And then I just told them it's not worth it for me. I go, if I have a title shot, I honestly look at my situation. I go, look how I earned my title shot. I fought Frankie. Granted, it was on 3 weeks' notice, not 2 days' notice, but still, if you have a secured title shot, stay with that title shot. Otherwise, it can be taken from you, and you never know how long it's going to take you to get it back. And when you're in there with anyone who's in the top 10 for 25 minutes, they have a 4-ounce glove, and you have a chin, and all it takes is one lucky hit. I'd rather that happen with the champ than with anyone else. So I told him to explain that, and he said, well, if we had our talks, and we disagreed. He agreed. We agreed to disagree pretty much. And I told him if I would be compensated for anything. I go, like, if I would get any kind of, like, dude, I showed up. I was on time. My weight was good. I did the open workout. I did the media. And he just said, he said no. So then that was that. Then, I was pretty bummed out and heartbroken. And yeah, after that we had another meeting, like a day, like yesterday. Friday we had another meeting, and we talked again, and he said he was just pissed off, and he said that we would talk again this week and figure things out. So right now I don't know what figure things out means.
Okay, so as of right now, you have not been compensated, but the door has been left open for some kind of discussion. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay, you feel like you should at least get your show money, I'm assuming. You showed up.
I showed up, but his thing is, for sure I'm not getting show money.
That's not even a discussion at this point.
No, because on my contract, my show money was my win money. So
Oh, I
You
see.
know,
Yeah.
yeah. For this fight for me, it wasn't half and half. It was, it was just a flat rate.
Okay. So you're going to get a percentage of whatever that rate is. That at least that's what's possible at this point because he's not going to give you everything.
I talked to him. I talked to him man to man. I go, you know what, man? I'm gonna play both sides of this, and I'm gonna say at least take care of my camp. Training camps are not cheap.
Yeah.
And let alone to go and do another one, and then I've done a great job at being smart and saving my money, but still, like I told him, I understand your point. I didn't show up for work on Saturday night. I get it. I go, but I did everything I did on my end to make sure I did show up. I stayed safe during training camp. I purposely didn't do different kinds of trainings that I did before out of that fear that I might get injured during my training camp. I was like, so everything that on my part was done. I go, the fact that you want me to take another fight and this and that, I go, I understand, but I go, at the same time, that's not my problem. Just like how this other thing wasn't your problem. Like, I have to fight. I go, at least pay for the camp or something. But I go, trust me, man, I earn my keep. I never asked for anything free in my life. You could ask any one of my friends. I hate to ask. I like to earn my things, and I just told him, bro, like, if you can take care of my training camp, then fuck, even that, I'll be happy. I go, at least I know I didn't walk away with not anything.
And so I guess he's considering that at this point?
He pretty much, maybe I want to say I'm a good judge of character.
Okay.
And I think he's going to do that.
Okay.
So when I talk to him, I'm going to find out. But like I said, I'm sure, trust my judgment.
What was it like?
I think he was just, like I said, he was upset because then when I had a meeting with him, Daniel Cormier tripped in the backstage too.
Jeez.
So like he came in that room just furious,
Okay.
So I pretty much there was like it was a pretty tough meeting in the beginning, and it was just like I only could say like the first 30 minutes I was just sitting there and looking at him, like telling myself like there's no point even being here. Like your words are not even being heard.
Okay.
And I thought that's just the way business is, like at this level. I never experienced something like that. I've never had it. This is my first time where I actually had a chance to sit down and talk to Dana in my entire UFC career. So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to do. And I mean, at the end, like 45-minute mark of our conversation, I just told him, I go, you know what, man? I go, right now, I'm sorry. I don't want to be another fucking headache. I go, pretty much like whatever you say, like you say. You know when you're not going to get through anything.
Yeah.
There's not even, and for me, there's no point in trying to talk to someone who's not going to listen. So I was just waiting for it to be over with, shook his hand, and then I just left. But then the next day he called me, and he was like, hey, man, can you meet right now? All I was thinking, I was like, it's Thursday. It's around 8 o'clock. I was like, maybe he's going to offer me someone one last time. I was like, this guy's going to, like, and then he told me to meet him alone, So it was like no managers, no one. So I was like, and now I don't have backup. So it's like I have to rely on my own brain, which I do, but I'm not a businessman either, as in terms of, like I haven't been in the managing business game. So it was just going to be different. But honestly, that we just had a conversation about just sorry about yesterday, like he was pissed off, and then I got a little bit kind of, like excited as well. And now it's just we're face to face, no people around us, and it's more like it was more heartfelt conversation, I could say.
Do you feel like you got a crash course in the fight game this week about, here you are going into this fight as the golden boy, but it's not all, like peaches and cream as it may seem, as, when everything's going right for you, you're taking fights, you're knocking people out. This is a little different, right? You've learned something this week?
I've been schooled this entire week on everything, man. At least now I have a different perspective on the game. I've always had that perspective, I always knew, like, at any given point, like, if anyone wants to, they can just make me the bad guy. And what's actually have it happen and experience the way, you can always say, I can only imagine when that happens, I'll be ready and this and that. But then when you see it, then you're like, whoa. You're almost like, damn, like, what did I do?
What was the rest of the week like for you, Brian? Like before Saturday? I know I want to ask you about Saturday in particular, but then having to be there Thursday, Friday, weigh-ins are happening. Like, the momentum is building. You stuck around. What was it like being there?
Well, I had to stick around because I'm not ashamed of I'm not ashamed of my decision.
Mm-hmm.
If I was ashamed or a coward or anything, I wouldn't show my face. But I showed my face because I stand by what I say. It's not a thing. I didn't take the fight out of fear. That's never the issue with me. I don't fear man. The issue was the title and just everything we just talked about. That was the main thing. And all these fans that came out, that supported, that, honestly, I felt bad for them as well. I said, I can't believe how many of my people and my followers and everyone came out. And I see everyone wearing Ortega shirts, wearing Brian T. City shirts, VBS shirts. And I was just like, damn, like I almost felt like I let them down, like even though it was not my fault, like I couldn't help but feel bad for the situation that they came to see me and they're not going to see me anymore. So I decided to do media and as in terms of do meet and greets, and hopefully I can just talk to everyone and just shake their hand and take a photo with them and like I said, just talk to them. And a lot of them were like, dude, we came here to see you fight, but this made up for it for you just taking the time to hang out with us and do the meet and greet and everything. So for me, that was my way of, trying to give back to this whole situation. And then Saturday came and there was the fights.
So what was that like, being in attendance and watching, and especially watching your slot and the fight that took your slot in the co-main event, going down as one of the worst fights in UFC history? What's going through your mind as you're sitting there knowing that you should be in the cage at that point?
I thought going to the fights, it was going to make things better for me. It was going to make me just like any regular night, and you accept the fact that you're not fighting, go in there and just watch these fights and support. I'm not going to lie, man, being in there really, I didn't want to show it, but like my heart was like broken. I was watching these fights and I was watching the fighters walk out and I was watching the introductions and I was watching their interviews after. I was watching Bruce Buffer. I'm analyzing everything. And I mean, I just sat there kind of like trying not to show much emotion, but I mean, you could see like someone snapped a photo of me and my face. You could see it in my face, man. I'm just, what am I doing here? My heart just, it broke, man. Especially when the co-main event happened and I seen the show that they put on and I was just like, this was my slot. These were my roars right now that should have been into cheers instead of boos. And it just, all these thoughts kept going in my head, a million thoughts in my head. And then I wanted to leave, and my coach was like, no, man, trust me, just stay. And I was just like, dude, I want to leave. Like, I go, this being so close to that cage and everything that's happening, I go, I don't think even you understand my feelings right now. And yeah, man, I was just like bummed the entire night and even yesterday.
How do you feel now?
Still a bit the same. I like after the fight, they invited us to go out and like, hey man, come out to this place and blah blah blah. And I literally got up there, and everyone is like, hey dude, what's wrong with you? Like, are you mad? Or and I was just like, I'm trying to just say I'm cool, but you know, when like 10 people come up to you and like say what's up, you know, or why are you mad or whatever, and I'm just like, you know what, I shouldn't even be here. I just literally got down the elevator and left, and then that was it. I just had to be alone.
How did you're back home in California, correct?
Yeah, I drove home last night actually.
Did you do the drive with your dad alone?
And nope, I just did the drive. My dad left.
Oh, wow. You did the drive alone.
No, I had my buddies with me.
Okay.
But
Your dad left early? He didn't even stick around?
No, he left. He left Sunday.
Was that
He left Sunday morning as planned, you know.
Yeah.
But he didn't take me with him this time.
No, we talked about that drive and how much you were looking forward to that drive, and now you didn't lose, of course, so it's not, the same kind of feelings, but that it wasn't to come back home and not get that fulfillment now that you're back in the environment that you said goodbye to. Does that add another layer of sort of sadness to what you're feeling?
No, absolutely, man. I think I look forward to the drive more than I do, I would say as equal as a fight, because for me that's rare time that I get to spend with my dad, that he actually talks to me.
Mm-hmm.
Before growing up, my dad never really talked to me growing up. He was always a quiet man. And now that now that I think he sees me more like a man that he can actually talk to, like, he will forever be my dad, and I'm still like a kid to him, and for me that's always the best feeling in the world. I can never take that back. These are the moments that I love, man. There's nothing else to say. I just love these moments with him where I can't get it back. A belt, all these, that's pointless. Spending time with him and talking and having him really tell me how he feels about me and how proud he is and all these things. That, to me, that's what makes everything at the end of the fight game a lot better. And it for sure broke my heart not to be able to have that moment.
I'm wondering if any fighters reached out to you, Brian, who have been in this position before. It's so tough to say no, or to have a fight get pulled from you at the last minute. Anyone reach out to you with advice?
I talked to Chuck Liddell. I talked to a lot of fighters were like talking to me, and they're shaking my hand. And even Tony Ferguson, he was like, "Hey, man, like,
yeah."
He goes, "The fact that you're here at the fight shows a lot about who you are, bro." He goes, "You got fucking character." He's like, "It shows a lot." He goes, "You'll get him next time, man." He goes, "Keep your head up." And then other fighters, were just same thing. "Oh, sorry it didn't happen," or whatever. But a couple fighters truly were like on my side and were like, "No, dude, you did the right thing. Trust." But people who've been there, like Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, all these guys were reaching out and going out of their way to come grab me and talk to me and just kind of give me their 2 cents on everything. And the more these guys came up, the better I felt about my decision.
So what is your plan now, Brian? Obviously it kind of depends on Max. Do you have any idea when you can do this? And is the plan to still wait for him?
I'm not waiting. Now, like I said, it's never been about Max. It's been about the belt.
Okay.
And from what I'm getting now, they said that Max might not fight for a long time. So I told him that's 3 shows in a row that Max couldn't attend. That was UFC 223, UFC 222, UFC 223, and UFC 226. All main shows, all pay-per-views you can attend. So, and if he's going to be out for a long time, and he might not even fight 45, they're saying as well. So I told them, then let's make the belt vacant, and then I fight whoever you guys want me to fight ASAP. I go, I'll fight him at UFC 227 here in Staples. I go, but let's get that situated.
Is that a possibility?
So, well, we have another meeting, I believe, tomorrow or sometime this week to talk again to Dana, like I told you, about what's going to go on with my situation, and then to see what's going on with this entire fight situation, you know?
Okay.
So all I know is the second meeting with Dana went a lot better than the first, and he seemed a lot more calmer. And now it's just we got to see what's going to go on. I don't care if it's Jeremy Stevens. I don't care who it is. But if it's for the belt, then I'm going to do it.
Okay, for the belt, you'll fight as soon as next month, but you haven't been told one way or the other just yet.
I'll fight tomorrow if it's for the belt.
Okay.
That's just always been my dream, man, and that's my fight. I've earned, and I told Dana, I go, listen, I put everyone's head, like Connor said, you know, like the figure of speech. I put everyone's head on your table. I go, I never came at you with a decision win. I never came at you with anything. I stepped in to fight Tavares on 2 weeks' notice. I stepped in to fight Frankie on 3 weeks' notice. I stepped in to fight Khabib on 6 days' notice. I go, fear is not a thing on my part. I go, I will always want to do what's right to get this title and to earn my respect in this game. I go, but at this point, I go, now that I have it, I go, you know, that's it. I'm not going to lose it. So I think he understood where I'm coming from. But at the same time, he is who he is, and he's a UFC. You know, he's not Team Brian Ortega.
Right.
So he's got to do what I got to do, and I have to do what I have to do. But I honestly felt there was something in there that he finally looked me in my eyes and understood where I'm coming from, and just left it at that.
Brian, I appreciate this very much. Thank you so much for coming on. I know you were asked to do many an interview, so it means a lot that you would come on and clear the air here on the show. I wish you luck this week as you try to clear this up with Dana and figure out what the next path to getting that belt is for you. So I'm really sorry this happened, but well done on handling it like a champ and being such a great professional. So, as I said at the top, I thought you did it all the right way. Do not doubt that for a second. And
I had a good conversation with you too, man. So, that helped a lot too. And
right.
Happy late birthday, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. All the best to you, and we'll talk to you soon. And please keep us posted if you can.
I will.
All right, there he is. Brian Ortega stopping by. Great stuff from him. T-City, what a tough spot as he tries to figure out where he goes from here. And what he does next after a very trying week. And not only is he dealing with the emotions of trying to figure out what's next, but also sitting there. Could you imagine sitting there and watching the whole thing unfold and thinking that this is the moment that you've been waiting for your entire life? That's got to be very tough. Really appreciate Brian coming on here. Later on in the program, still to come, we've got Brad Katona, who had a big week in Las Vegas, winning the Ultimate Fighter. Khalil Roundtree still to come with the big knockout win over Gokhan Saki. Of course, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, Jeremy Stevens still to come. We've got a lot more show, but now let's switch gears a little bit and talk to Anthony Smith. We found out early last week that he is stepping in to fight Shogun Rua in Hamburg, Germany. Let's say hello to Lionheart Smith right now. Anthony, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, and thank you for your patience. Sorry for getting to you a little late. But very happy to have you on the show for the first time. So congratulations on this opportunity. When did you find out that you were being tapped to step in on essentially 3 weeks' notice to fight a legend like Shogun?
I think I found out Tuesday or Wednesday of last week. My manager Jim called and said that there was an opportunity to fight Shogun in Germany and that he had accepted it and we were going to Germany.
Did you think twice? Did you think, wow, great opportunity, great opponent, great stage, but this is a little too soon?
No, not at all, man. I didn't even hesitate. That's a no-brainer for me. You know, I've already talked about wanting to fight Shogun. I like the matchup. I think that I match up real well with him. And honestly, man, how many chances are you going to get to fight Shogun not in his home country? You know?
Yeah.
We're in neutral territory.
Does this feel like the moment you've been waiting for, like finally getting that opportunity against someone with a name on a stage and a main event slot? Like, does this feel like it's all coming together for you?
It does, man. I feel like it's finally happening. You know, I got the big win over Rashad, and then this opportunity popped up, man. I feel like things are going the way that I've always dreamed of them going.
By the way, I haven't talked to you since Rashad retired, and I remember asking you about wanting to be the one to retire Rashad Evans. Now that it actually happened, that you are the guy to retire him, how do you feel about that?
It's a little bit sad, to be honest with you. You know, Rashad had such a storied and legendary career. You know, it's just it's unfortunate, you know, that his career ended the way that it did, and you know, I'm always going to be tied to that, you know, as the legend killer, you know, as people keep calling me. I don't know, man. It was real sad to see him in the back afterwards, and just how upset he was, because I could tell how important that win was to him. You know, like how bad he wanted it.
Did you go out of your way to see him? Like, did you go talk to him, or you just bumped into him after the fight?
Oh, we bumped into each other in the green room, and just had we said a few words to each other. It was really fast. It was really respectful, and we were good.
So this legend killer thing, because now, of course, you're fighting another legend in Shogun. This could be something that sticks. Like, this is a nice little moniker to have. You don't like it?
I mean, it's not that I dislike it. It's just the way that it's being used, as if I'm going out here and fighting people that can't defend themselves. You know, we're kind of in a similar situation. You know, people are talking about, I'm going to retire Shogun. He's on a 3-fight win streak, and over good people. Like, what the hell are we talking? We're talking about retiring Shogun now too. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if I feel that same way about this fight, because to your point, he is on a win streak, and I don't think even a loss, as emphatic as it may be, would retire him at this point. I just like the idea of you taking out the legends, not necessarily retiring the legends, but taking out the legends en route to what you're trying to do. I feel like there's a distinction there.
I mean, I'm fine with that, man. I think that if you look at our records, obviously a lot of those guys have been in the UFC much longer than I have, but if you really look at it, I got more fights than a lot of those guys, so I'm just as experienced as them.
We had Daniel Cormier on at the top of the show, and he said that he's considering fighting Shogun next before Brock Lesnar to get a light heavyweight title fight out of the way, completely dismissing you. What do you make of that? Did you hear these comments?
Man, I think I caught something earlier on Twitter, but if Daniel Cormier is sleeping on me beating Shogun, then I'll put Daniel Cormier in his place too. I'm not one that you're ever going to sleep on. So if Daniel wants to go ahead and get a win before it happens, then I hope he would do the same with me, because I'll put that dude in his place.
Man, you don't like these comments.
I don't care what Daniel likes or not.
No, I mean, you don't like these comments.
No, I don't.
Are you like in the mountains or something now? I was told that Anthony was on his way to the mountains, and I feel like as he increasingly...
I am.
Yes, I feel like we're going to lose him eventually. Jake, do me a favor and call him on his cell, because I don't want to lose him here. I feel we got the taste of him in his car, but these are the beauties of doing the show live and people going about their day. We're going to reconnect with him here. Okay, just stand by. But that was interesting from earlier today. Shogun being mentioned by Daniel Cormier. Of course, Shogun has to fight this fight against Anthony Smith. And lest we forget that Shogun is not on some sort of, streak where he's getting smoked. In fact, he's on a winning streak. Anthony, are you there? Can you hear me?
I am, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
No problem. We knew that was coming. Where are you headed off to right now?
I am filming with the UFC crew for just for the fight, and we're headed up to a spot that I like to go to and just kind of hide out away from everything up in the mountains.
Oh wow. Okay, so you're doing like a shoot, an E&G shoot, as they say, like of you training and things like that.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so I just want to get
Is it your birthday, Ariel?
It was my birthday yesterday.
Oh man, I missed it. Well, happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
Late.
I appreciate that. No, thank you. It's always appreciated. I just wanted to ask because I lost you just at the very end of that. You saw that comment from Daniel. Is it fair to say it perturbed you a little bit that he was just sort of dismissing the fact that Shogun has an actual fight against you next?
Yeah, like that's really really arrogant. Daniel, he's smart. He's not stupid. You can't dismiss someone you never know what's going to happen. You can't just say, I want to fight Shogun, even though Shogun's got a fight coming up. It's almost like he thinks the fight's already happened, that's just ridiculous. He's smarter than that. He's been in the game longer than that. So for him to just make idiotic comments like that, number one, it kind of helps me out a little bit because if he wants to fight Shogun and he thinks that Shogun is the next one that should get the title shot, and I beat Shogun, well, then you just accidentally roped yourself into losing your title. Like now he's roped himself to me if I beat Shogun. I mean, does that sound right to you?
I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know if he'd, I think he's looking for fights, with the fellow legends, so to speak. Not to say that you're not at level.
The easy ones. The easier ones.
I don't want to put words in his mouth.
Gotcha.
I don't want to put words in his mouth. But I will admit I was a little surprised by that mention, if I'm being honest. I personally don't think he's ever going back down to 205, or at least I wouldn't advise him to.
I don't think he's coming back down to 205.
Right.
I don't know in what world the 205 champion moves up to heavyweight and weighs in heavier than the heavyweight champion and then thinks he's going to come right back down to 205 before he's 40 years old. I just don't see that happening. It might take till he's 40 to get back down.
Yeah. I agree with that, by the way.
And I think he looked good at heavyweight. Even though Stipe is my friend, Daniel looked good. He moved well. Obviously, he has the power to put guys down. I don't see any reason for him to come back down. I just don't see any positives there.
So right now it feels like like light heavyweight, as you know, is as shallow as can be. There's a lot of guys who have had opportunities. You're, one of the very few fresh faces who have never been in that spot before. Do you feel like a win over Shogun opens that door for you to really make some like that? You are a hell of a lot. Like a win over Rashad is one thing. Win over Shogun at this point, you're pretty darn close, right? You're a fresh face. You haven't been there before. You haven't gotten a title shot. What do you think?
I think it definitely, as long as I can do it convincingly, if I can get a finish over Shogun, I think that definitely gives me an opportunity to start picking at the guys in the top five. I don't want to ever, I've always said I don't want to ever say I deserve anything. I want to earn everything. So if I was to get, a number one contender spot or a title eliminator, I think that I don't see that that's out of the realm of possibility. I mean, Ozdemir got a title shot pretty quick as well, and I think finishing two former world champions, and then if I can, get the winner of Ozdemir and Gustafsson, or I don't know if Glover has a fight since he lost his opponent, or maybe a title eliminator with Glover Teixeira, at the end of the year. I don't see why a win over Shogun and then beating one of those guys wouldn't get me a title shot.
Yeah, and just getting a little taste of now being in a main event. This has to feel good, right? It has to feel like we're finally getting that recognition, right? We're doing something right here. Yeah.
I think that it definitely proves us. I think it proves that I think the move to 205 was a good idea. I just feel better. I'm performing better, and obviously there's growing room there. There's definitely room for me to move around a little bit, and it's just I've been a pro since 2008. And I'm finally getting. I'm just finally getting the opportunities that I've always wanted, and I'm just doing everything I can to make the best of them.
Have you been watching Shogun? Like, is that one of the guys that you actually enjoyed watching? Is it a little bit surreal that you're actually getting an opportunity to fight against him?
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I mean, I've always been. It's kind of a similar situation as Rashad. I've always been a Rashad fan, and I've always been a fan of Shogun. The dude, he brings it. He's aggressive. He pushes forward, and he's always in exciting fights. That's a wet dream for a guy like me, So it's crazy that I'm in a position where I have the ability to beat two of my idols back to back.
The thing about Shogun is that he is on a winning streak, but like he has long breaks in between his fights. Which Shogun do you watch? Are you watching, like, obviously you have to watch the last Shogun, you know, the most recent
Right.
Shogun, but do you even allow yourself to go back to the old Shogun, or do you feel like that guy's not there anymore?
I just don't think that guy's there anymore. But I don't think that much has changed as far as technique-wise and skills and abilities. I think that the fact that Shogun hasn't been fighting that often is actually a positive for him. I think that actually helps him because he's had a long career. He's been in a lot of battles. He's been in a lot of just knockdown dragouts. I think the fact that he's only fighting once a year for the last 3 years means that he's healthy, that he's taking the time to let his body heal, and he's not coming in beat up and banged up and stuff like that. So I think that that's actually makes him a little bit more dangerous, you know. So, but I've been watching the recent Shogun, you know, the little bit older one that's still really dangerous.
I feel like he deserves a little bit of credit. I don't think a lot of guys in his position would take a fight against you. I feel like a lot of guys would have been like, give me someone who's a little older, who hasn't looked as good as you have looked as of late. Like, are you surprised at all that he took this fight?
No, I'm impressed. I'm really, really impressed. I think the Shogun. I think a lot of the guys in Shogun's position need to really look at the things that look at Shogun taking this fight and look at the fights that Donald Cerrone has taken. And like I think we might be making a little bit of a shift, like in culture, like you know, the days of people avoiding fights and not wanting to fight the guys that they think that they're going to have a tough time with. I think that people should look at that, and then that's what people should be impressed by. I said it yesterday. Shogun doesn't have to fight me. He could have said no, and no one would have ever said anything about it. No one would have bitched and complained about it because of the position that he's in, and he's leaving himself wide open there, you know, and that just shows what kind of fighter Shogun is. He just wants to bring it, and he wants to fight.
Thoughts on fighting in Germany? Is this something that excites you, or it doesn't really matter?
It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but I think it'll be cool to go over there and just experience a new culture. You know, I'm not extremely well traveled as far as overseas goes, so I think it'll be cool to go over there and check out Germany and experience their culture, and you know, and put on a show for the German fans. You know, they kind of. I can tell that on social media they're a little bit upset. You know, that their card has kind of got switched around a little bit. So I'm excited to go over there and just give them what they paid for, so that when everybody leaves, they'll be happy about it.
They're giving you crap for this?
Pardon me?
They're giving you crap for this, for the card falling through? Like the guy who stepped in, you're getting the heat for it?
No, I just see it. You know, that they're saying, you know, it's a shit card, and there's not a lot of European people on there, and you know, just stuff like that. You know, so I think this happens a lot. You know, there's even been times where I've, you know, seen a card and it's kind of falling apart, and I was really excited about it, and I've thought to myself, oh man, this card's gonna suck. But I would watch it.
Yeah.
And I would say 9 times out of 10, it turns out to be a pretty goddamn good card.
Yes.
So I just want them to give me an opportunity. Like, just tune in, change the channel, check it out, and I promise you guys will be happy with spending your time watching the fight.
Off the top of my head, I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, is this the first time you fight in Europe?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It is really cool.
Are you I know you really wanted to fight on that card in Nebraska. Is that still part of the dream, or is this like to do a quick turnaround, or is getting this spot eliminating that dream?
It sounds like getting this opportunity is eliminating that dream. But crazier things have happened, so I'm not ruling it out, and I'll probably really upset the UFC if I can get in there and finish Shogun super quick, and then ask for Lincoln. They'd probably explode.
Why?
I'm sure they're sick of hearing. Because I'm sure they're sick of hearing from me.
What, you really bothered them a lot?
Oh yeah, I had Jim calling him every single day. Jim got to the point where Jim didn't even want to answer my phone calls.
Your manager, Jim Walter, didn't want to answer your phone calls.
I'm telling you, I bugged him every day trying to find an opponent for Lincoln. Like, am I on? Did they find anybody? Did you talk to him? What did they say? Like, every single day, multiple times. So if I mention Lincoln one time, I bet the UFC just explodes.
And why was it so hard to get you a spot on that card? I mean, you fight out of Nebraska. Wouldn't it make sense?
I thought so, but there just wasn't. everyone in the rankings were either unavailable or unwilling.
Weird.
So they wanted a fight that made sense, and I totally understand where they were coming from. And that's where we were at, you know. And honestly, Mick Maynard was doing a really, really good job. He worked really hard trying to find me an opponent, and it just wasn't panning out. You know, you can't force guys to fight.
Crazy how that works, right? You try to fight on the card, the state you're fighting out of. It makes sense, a fight night card, whatever. You just want any fight. At this point, I'm assuming you'd have taken anyone, even if it didn't make sense, right?
Anybody. Yeah, anybody.
And then all of a sudden you get a main event slot against a legend like Shogun, former champion. Isn't that wild?
Right. That is it's crazy, isn't it? And it's even crazier that some of the people that had turned me down that wouldn't come to Lincoln and fight were jumping all over the Shogun fight. So, I think part of the reason I got the Shogun fight is because I think that alone proves to the UFC that there's something there. You know, like Corey Anderson, like totally, like kind of big boying me, telling me that he wasn't, you know, telling the UFC doesn't want to fight anybody outside the top 10. And then, you know, he'll just sit and wait, and then Shogun needs an opponent, so he jumps all over that. Well, I feel like you kind of burnt your bridge when you didn't want to fight. You kind of go to the bottom of the list, right?
Well, isn't it weird? Corey Anderson is now in the co-main event. Did you know that?
I didn't.
Yes, Corey Anderson is now fighting Glover in the co-main event because Lil Latifi got injured. But now you're above him.
No.
You didn't know that.
Well, I hope. No, I didn't. But I hope you feel stupid about that.
Isn't that crazy? I thought that works. Now you're on the bill. You're the headliner, and he's below you.
Right. And we could have just fought in Lincoln and not had to drive, go over to Germany. But he didn't want that, and now I ended up with a much bigger opportunity that I'm extremely grateful for. But I think everything works out the way it's supposed to work out. But it's a crazy game, Ariel.
Yes. Last thing before I let you go, Anthony, I know, you mentioned your manager, Jim Walter, manager for Stipe. I know you have somewhat of a relationship. What was it like seeing him lose on Saturday?
It was hard to watch, man. It really was. I've gotten the opportunity to spend some time with Stipe and just figure out that he's just a really, really good dude. He's just really down to earth, and he's real. And I think that he deserved to win. And I don't say that kind of stuff a lot, but he just deserves it. He works hard. He does all the right things. He takes care of his family. So it was hard to watch. Not that DC doesn't do those things. I don't know him personally, but I'm just speaking from knowing Stipe. So I did feel like Stipe, after the fight was over, he kind of got shit on a little bit. They kind of just rushed him out, and he didn't get the opportunity to even say that he's okay and that he'll be back or anything. He just kind of rushed out. Brock Lesnar rushed in, and it was almost, the guy, how long does Stipe carry the heavyweight torch,
Yeah.
Long time, and look how exciting the division is now, and I don't think that that's 100% Stipe's doing, but he's definitely part of it, and he's the greatest heavyweight ever, and I just sucks, it kind of seems like Stipe just kind of got thrown to the side, and a lot of people seem like they were happy that he lost, and that's disappointing as well.
Yeah, the Brock thing, just mentioning him, just kind of like, did you have, like, the guy's standing right there. And
right.
I just felt like just another reminder of how this sport moves. Like you lose, and within seconds we're on to the next one.
Yeah, seconds. Like, it's one thing to get home after the weekend and on Monday and Tuesday no one gives a shit about you, but like your eye isn't even done swelling shut yet. Like, you haven't walked down one step and you're already, people are tossing you to the side like you're nothing, like you didn't even matter.
Yeah.
So that it's just hard to watch. You're just such a good dude.
Did you get a chance to talk to him or no?
No, man. I've kind of just stepped back and let them do their thing,
Yeah, I understand. Well, you're doing your thing, my man. You're in a great spot. It's amazing. I know you were very disappointed after the Thiago Santos fight, but now here you are, winner of 4 of your last 5, and you're getting an opportunity of a lifetime. It's crazy. I know in February, it wasn't that long ago, and you probably thought, what am I going to do here? You come back at 205, and all of a sudden you're rolling after one fight. It's I mean, another example, like with DC a year ago, he's crying in the cage, and now he's making history with 2 belts. This is a weird sport.
Absolutely.
And I feel like you're experiencing that right here.
I am, man. And I'm just taking it all in, and I'm just gonna run with it and do everything I can. That's all I know how to do. I'm just gonna keep pushing.
keep it up. I wish you the best in training in the last few weeks. I know you don't have a lot of time, but best of luck in training. Good luck out there in Germany. Very much looking forward to it, and kudos to you for taking the fight on short notice.
Thanks a lot, Ariel, and happy late birthday again, and I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon. There he is, Anthony Lionheart-Smith, fighting Shogun Rua July 22nd in Hamburg, Germany. You know, the thing about Anthony is that a lot of, he's somewhat new to the UFC. This guy's been fighting for a freaking long time. 2008, 10 years. And now he's finally getting an opportunity. 29-13. He is no young pup. Coming off that win over Rashad Evans in Chicago, and now getting the opportunity of a lifetime against one Shogun Rua. And yeah, like I said, Ilir Latifi injured, reported that last week. And in comes Corey Anderson. I thought, and I think the timing may not have worked out. I thought that they were going to try to do, and I know that there was a request made to try to do this, Glover Teixeira versus Shogun Rua. Have the two legends face off in Germany, of all places. But that is not happening. It's to me, it's a fun situation because you have the older guy against the younger guy, right? You've got Shogun against Anthony Smith, and you also have Glover Teixeira versus Corey Anderson now. Corey Anderson replaces Ilir Latifi. So that's July 22nd.